The morning sun painted golden streaks across Westminster Abbey as London awakened to one of the most significant days in British history. Inside Kensington Palace, Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood before her bedroom mirror, carefully adjusting the delicate diamond earrings that had belonged to Queen Elizabeth. Her reflection showed a woman transformed by years of royal duty, yet her eyes still held the same warmth that had captured the nation's heart decades ago. Prince William emerged from his dressing room, resplendent in his ceremonial military uniform, the morning light catching the intricate gold braiding across his chest. He paused beside his wife, their eyes meeting in the mirror. Without words, they shared a moment of understanding about the weight of this day. Today wasn't just about ceremony and tradition. It was about their family stepping forward into a new chapter of royal history. Down the hallway, the sounds of excited chatter and gentle laughter drifted from the children's rooms. Prince George, now tall for his age and bearing an uncanny resemblance to his father, was being helped into his formal attire by his valet. His younger siblings, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, were in various stages of preparation, their excitement barely contained despite the early hour. Charlotte, ever the perfectionist like her mother, stood patiently as her lady-in-waiting, arranged her hair into an elegant style befitting a young princess. Her dress, a beautiful creation in soft blue silk with intricate embroidery, had been specially designed for this momentous occasion. She caught glimpses of herself in the mirror and smiled, understanding, even at her young age, that today was different from any other day. Prince Louis, the youngest of the three, bounded around his room with the boundless energy typical of children his age. His formal outfit, a miniature version of his father's ceremonial dress, seemed almost too grand for his small frame, yet he wore it with the natural confidence that came from being born into royalty. His nanny gently guided him through the final preparations, reminding him of the importance of the day ahead. The palace staff moved with practiced efficiency, ensuring every detail was perfect. Breakfast had been served early and light, knowing that the family would need to maintain their energy throughout the long day ahead. The children's favorite foods had been prepared to keep them content during the busy morning, though their excitement made eating secondary to their anticipation. Catherine made her final rounds. Checking on each child personally, she knelt beside Louis, straightening his collar with the tender care only a mother could provide. Her touch was gentle but assured, conveying both love and the importance of proper presentation. With Charlotte, she shared a quiet moment of girl-to-girl understanding, praising her daughter's poise and reminding her of the pride she felt watching her grow into her role. George, as the eldest, received special attention from both parents. William placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder, the gesture carrying years of understanding about the unique pressures that came with being heir to the throne. They spoke quietly about expectations and behavior, but also about the honor of representing their family and country on such a historic day. The final preparations involved the careful coordination of departure times and travel arrangements. The family's convoy would need to arrive at Westminster Abbey with precise timing, allowing for the proper ceremonial entrance that protocol demanded. Every movement had been rehearsed and planned, yet there remained an air of nervous excitement that even royal training couldn't completely suppress. As they gathered in the palace's grand entrance hall, the family formed a picture of modern royalty. William and Catherine flanked their children, creating a protective circle around the next generation of the monarchy. Their staff made final adjustments to clothing and accessories, ensuring that every photograph taken today would reflect the dignity and grace expected of the royal family. The moment had arrived for them to leave the familiar comfort of their home and step into history. Outside, the sounds of gathering crowds could be heard even through the palace walls. London was awakening to witness something extraordinary. The Wales family was ready to play their part in the grand pageantry that would unfold at Westminster Abbey. The journey from Kensington Palace to Westminster Abbey transformed into a moving celebration as their convoy made its way through London's historic streets. Thousands of people lined the route, many having camped overnight to secure the best viewing positions. Union Jack flags fluttered like colorful butterflies in the morning breeze, Cheers erupted spontaneously as the royal vehicles passed, inside their state car. The Wales family watched through the windows as their nation showed its love and support. Catherine pointed out particularly creative signs and banners to the children, helping them understand the genuine affection their people held for the royal family. Young Louis pressed his face against the glass, waving enthusiastically at the crowd. His innocent joy bringing smiles to thousands of faces along the route, Charlotte maintained her composure beautifully, offering gentle waves and smiles that reminded many observers of her late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. Her natural grace and dignity, even at such a young age, spoke to the careful guidance she had received from her parents. She seemed to understand instinctively that her behavior was being watched and judged, yet she carried herself with remarkable poise. George, aware of his future role as king, watched the crowds with serious attention. His father quietly explained the significance of the public's presence, helping him understand that their enthusiasm represented more than mere curiosity. These were their future subjects, people who would look to him for leadership and inspiration. Throughout his lifetime, the weight of this responsibility was already beginning to shape his young character. As they approached Westminster Abbey, the grandeur of the ancient building came into view. Gothic spires reached toward the cloudy London sky, while the facade had been decorated with ceremonial banners and flowers for this special occasion. Television crews from around the world had positioned themselves strategically to capture every moment of the royal family's arrival. The crowds grew denser as they neared the abbey. The people pressed against the barriers in hopes of catching a glimpse of the beloved family. The excitement was palpable, with cheers growing louder and more sustained as their vehicles slowed for the final approach. Camera flashes created a continuous sparkle despite the daylight as photographers sought to capture the perfect image. William and Catherine exchanged glances, both understanding that the next few minutes would be crucial. Their entrance into Westminster Abbey would set the tone for everything that followed. The children needed to perform flawlessly, representing not just their family, but the entire institution of the monarchy. Years of preparation had led to this moment. The vehicle came to a gentle stop at the Abbey's entrance, where red carpet stretched from the street to the massive wooden doors. Protocol officers stood ready to assist with the ceremonial exit, while guards in their finest uniforms created a protective corridor. The moment had arrived for the family to transition from private individuals to public symbols of the British monarchy. Catherine stepped out first, her elegant gown flowing gracefully as she emerged into the London air. The crowd's roar intensified. As she appeared, her smile warm and genuine despite the formal nature of the occasion. She turned back to help Louis as he climbed down from the car, his small hand gripping hers tightly as he took in the overwhelming sight of thousands of people cheering for him. Charlotte followed with natural elegance, her posture perfect and her expression serene. She had clearly inherited her mother's ability to remain calm under pressure, though a slight smile played at the corners of her mouth, revealing her excitement about the day ahead. The crowd's appreciation for her composure was evident in their sustained applause. George emerged last among the children, his bearing already showing signs of the future king he would become. His movements were deliberate and confident, though he stayed close to his father's side. William's hand rested protectively on his eldest son's shoulder, a gesture that spoke to both guidance and support during this momentous occasion. The family formed their procession line according to protocol, with William and Catherine flanking their children as they prepared to walk the red carpet toward Westminster Abbey's entrance. Behind them, the sounds of London celebrating created a magnificent soundtrack to their historic entrance into one of Britain's most sacred spaces. The red carpet beneath their feet seemed to stretch endlessly toward the towering doors of Westminster Abbey, each step carrying profound significance in British royal history. Catherine walked with measured grace, her hand gently guiding Louis, while maintaining the dignified pace required by centuries of protocol. The young prince's eyes darted everywhere, taking in the magnificent architecture, the sea of faces, and the overwhelming grandeur surrounding him. Photographers captured every moment as the family moved forward, their cameras clicking in rapid succession to document this historic entrance. Charlotte maintained perfect posture throughout the walk, her training evident in every carefully placed step. She had clearly studied footage of previous royal occasions, understanding that her behavior would be analyzed and remembered for generations to come. The massive wooden doors of Westminster Abbey stood open before them, revealing glimpses of the sacred interior where kings and queens had been crowned for nearly 1,000 years. Ancient stone walls held the weight of history, while stained glass windows cast colorful patterns across the nave. The scent of centuries-old stone and fresh flowers created an atmosphere both timeless and immediate. William acknowledged the various dignitaries and officials positioned along their route with subtle nods, his military training evident in his bearing and precision. He moved with the confidence of someone born to this role, yet his eyes frequently checked on his children, ensuring they remained comfortable and secure. Throughout the formal procession, George walked beside his father with increasing confidence, his initial nervousness giving way to natural dignity. The young prince seemed to draw strength from William's presence, his own posture straightening as they approached the abbey's threshold. Observers noted the remarkable resemblance between father and son, not just in appearance, but in their shared sense of duty and purpose. As they reached the entrance to Westminster Abbey, the family paused for a brief moment, allowing photographers to capture the full significance of this transition. They stood, silhouetted against the ancient stone archway, representing both the continuity of the monarchy and its evolution into the modern era. The image would undoubtedly become one of the defining photographs of the coronation. The transition from the bright London morning into the Abbey's sacred interior created a dramatic shift in atmosphere. The sounds of the celebrating crowds faded, replaced by the hushed reverence appropriate to one of Britain's most holy spaces. Organ music swelled from the ancient pipes, filling the vast space with melodies that had accompanied royal ceremonies for centuries. Inside the Abbey, distinguished guests from around the world had already taken their positions. World leaders, foreign royalty, and representatives from every corner of the Commonwealth filled the historic pews. Their presence underscored the global significance of this British ceremony. While their respectful attention honored the solemnity of the occasion, the family's entrance into the nave created a ripple of movement as guests rose to acknowledge their arrival. Catherine's elegant presence commanded attention, while the children's composure drew admiring glances from seasoned diplomats and foreign dignitaries. Even in this assembly of world leaders, the Wales family stood apart in their combination of dignity and accessibility. Louis, despite his young age, seemed to sense the sacred nature of their surroundings. Earlier exuberance gave way to appropriate quiet, though his curious eyes continued to explore every detail of the magnificent interior. His mother's gentle guidance helped him navigate the formal requirements while allowing his natural personality to shine through. The procession toward their designated seats required careful navigation through the Abbey's historic layout. Each step forward brought them deeper into British royal tradition. While the eyes of the world followed their every movement through television, cameras positioned discreetly throughout the ancient building. Charlotte's behavior throughout this transition period exemplified the careful preparation she had received. Her movements remained fluid and natural, despite the formal constraints of the ceremony. She seemed to understand instinctively when to look serious and when a gentle smile was appropriate. Displaying wisdom beyond her years, as they approached their seats in the Abbey's most prominent section, the family represented the perfect balance of tradition and modernity. Their presence honored the ancient customs of the monarchy while embodying the evolving nature of the British royal family in the 21st century. The anticipation in Westminster Abbey grew palpable as they prepared to take their places for the historic ceremony about to unfold. The magnificent ceremony began with centuries-old traditions that had been carefully preserved and adapted for modern times. Westminster Abbey filled with the sound of choral music as voices rose in harmony, creating an atmosphere of reverence that touched every person present. The Wales family sat in their prominent position, becoming living symbols of the monarchy's continuity through generations of British history. Catherine's attention divided naturally between the unfolding ceremony and her children's needs. She occasionally leaned toward Louis with quiet words of encouragement, helping him understand the significance of what they were witnessing. Maternal instincts remained active even in this most formal of settings, ensuring her youngest child felt secure and included throughout the lengthy proceedings. The ancient rituals unfolded with precision choreographed over generations. Each element of the ceremony carried deep meaning, from the sacred music to the symbolic objects used in the coronation process. George watched with fascination as he witnessed traditions that would one day be performed for his own coronation, his young mind absorbing lessons about duty, service, and the weight of royal responsibility. Charlotte demonstrated remarkable stamina throughout the extended ceremony, maintaining her poise and attention despite the formal constraints. Her ability to remain engaged and appropriate drew quiet admiration from nearby guests, many of whom marveled at her natural composure. She seemed to understand that her behavior reflected not only on herself, but on her entire family's reputation. The moments of highest ceremony created profound emotional responses throughout Westminster Abbey, when the most sacred elements of the coronation took place. A hush fell over the ancient building that seemed to connect everyone present to centuries of British royal tradition. The Wales family participated in these moments with visible reverence, their faces reflecting the solemnity of the occasion. Louis, despite his youth, remained remarkably well-behaved throughout the lengthy proceedings. His parents' careful preparation was evident in his ability to stay quiet and attentive during the most important moments. When he did fidget slightly, Catherine's gentle touch or William's reassuring glance quickly restored his focus to the ceremony unfolding before them. The music throughout the ceremony created a backdrop of transcendent beauty that elevated the entire occasion. Ancient hymns and specially composed pieces filled Westminster Abbey with sounds that seemed to bridge earthly ceremony with divine purpose. The children listened with obvious appreciation, their musical education helping them understand the artistry surrounding them. International guests watched the Wales family with particular interest, noting how they embodied both royal dignity and modern family values. Their behavior demonstrated how the British monarchy had evolved to balance ancient tradition with contemporary relevance. Foreign dignitaries later commented on the family's natural grace and the children's impressive deportment. As the ceremony reached its climactic moments, the emotional weight of the occasion became visible on the faces of all participants. William and Catherine exchanged glances that spoke to their shared understanding of witnessing history in the making. Their children, each in their own way, seemed to grasp that they were part of something larger than themselves. The sacred nature of the coronation ceremony created moments of profound quiet that contrasted beautifully with the grandeur of the setting. During these times, the Wales family's reverent attention demonstrated their deep respect for the institution they represented. Their visible participation in these holy moments added authenticity to the ancient traditions being observed. George's growing awareness of his future role became apparent in his intense concentration on every detail of the ceremony. His father occasionally explained elements of the proceedings through quiet whispers, helping prepare the young prince for the responsibilities that would one day be his. These father-son moments, captured by cameras, showed the human side of royal preparation. The ceremony's progression toward its conclusion brought a mixture of relief and satisfaction to the family. They had successfully represented the monarchy throughout one of its most important public occasions, demonstrating both individual character and collective unity. Their presence had added grace and continuity to an event that would be remembered for generations. As the final elements of the coronation ceremony unfolded, the Wales family prepared for the transition back to public view. Their successful navigation of this historic occasion had strengthened their position within the royal family and enhanced their connection with the British people. The ceremony's end would mark the beginning of their ceremonial exit from Westminster Abbey. The conclusion of the coronation ceremony marked the beginning of the royal family's ceremonial departure from Westminster Abbey, as the final notes of the magnificent recessional music echoed through the ancient stones. The Wales family prepared to retrace their steps through the hallowed halls that had witnessed this historic occasion. The atmosphere remained reverent, yet there was a palpable sense of accomplishment and celebration in the air. William rose first, offering his hand to Catherine with the same courtly grace that had characterized their relationship since their university days. She accepted with a smile that conveyed both relief and pride at how beautifully their children had conducted themselves. Throughout the lengthy ceremony, their partnership had been evident throughout the day, supporting the other while ensuring their family presented a united front. To the world, George stood with the careful precision he had maintained throughout the ceremony, his young face showing a mixture of exhaustion and excitement. The weight of witnessing his family's central role in this historic event was clearly settling on his shoulders. Adding to his understanding of the responsibilities that lay ahead in his future, his father's proud glance acknowledged the maturity he had displayed. Charlotte gathered her elegant dress with practiced ease, her movements still graceful despite the long period of formal sitting. Her earlier composure had never faltered, and now she seemed energized by the successful completion of her royal duties. The young princess had clearly inherited her mother's natural ability to thrive under public scrutiny while maintaining her authentic personality. Louis, the youngest member of the family, showed signs of the day's emotional and physical demands, yet his spirits remained high. His parents' careful attention throughout the ceremony had helped him navigate this challenging experience successfully. His bright smile suggested that, despite any fatigue, he had enjoyed being part of this momentous family occasion. The family's formation of their departure procession required the same careful protocol that had governed their entrance. Each member took their designated position with the confidence that came from their morning's successful navigation of royal ceremony. Their coordinated movement demonstrated the unity and preparation that made them such effective representatives of the monarchy. As they began their walk back through Westminster Abbey's nave, the assembled guests rose in respect for their passage. The international dignitaries, world leaders, fellow royals who had witnessed the ceremony offered their acknowledgement of the family's dignified participation. Their approval was evident in the warm applause that accompanied the family's progress toward the Abbey's entrance. The transition from the sacred interior back toward the London daylight created anticipation for the public celebration that awaited. Outside, the sounds of the crowds could be heard even through the Abbey's massive walls, promising an enthusiastic reception for the family's reappearance. Their successful completion of the ceremonial requirements had earned them the right to bask in their nation's appreciation. Catherine's elegant progress back through the Abbey drew admiration from guests who had watched her throughout the ceremony. Her combination of maternal attention to her children and royal dignity had impressed even the most experienced observers of royal protocol. She had successfully balanced her roles as mother and princess, never allowing either responsibility to overshadow the other. The children's continued good behavior during this final phase of their Abbey appearance demonstrated the thoroughness of their preparation. Each had risen to meet the challenges of this demanding day, showing character and resilience that boded well for their future roles within the royal family. Their parents' pride in their performance was visible to all who watched their departure. George's growing confidence became more apparent as they approached the Abbey's entrance. The young prince had successfully weathered his first major royal ceremony, gaining experience and understanding that would serve him throughout his life. His straight posture and steady pace showed he was beginning to embody the bearing expected of a future king. The acoustics of Westminster Abbey carried the sounds of their departure throughout the ancient building, creating a sense of completion and fulfillment. The ceremony that had begun with their graceful entrance was concluding with an equally impressive exit. Their journey through this sacred space had transformed them from participants into protagonists of British royal history. As they neared the threshold between Westminster Abbey's sacred interior and the celebrating world outside, the family prepared for their return to public view. The successful completion of their ceremonial duties within the Abbey had prepared them for the enthusiastic reception that awaited them on London's streets, where thousands of their subjects were eager to continue the celebration. The moment the Wales family emerged from Westminster Abbey's ancient doors, London erupted in celebration. The crowd's roar was deafening, a wall of sound that represented the genuine affection and pride the British people felt for their beloved royal family. Union Jack flags waved frantically, while camera phones captured every second of this historic moment, creating a sea of digital memories that would be treasured for generations. Catherine stepped into the daylight with renewed energy, her earlier composure now complemented by visible joy at the public's enthusiastic reception. She paused at the top of the Abbey steps, allowing the crowd's appreciation to wash over her family like a warm embrace. Her smile was radiant and authentic, reflecting both relief at the ceremony's successful completion and genuine pleasure. At her people's celebration, the children's faces lit up with wonder at the magnitude of the crowd's response. Louis clapped his hands together in delight, his natural exuberance finally finding an appropriate outlet after hours of ceremonial restraint. His spontaneous reaction charmed everyone present, from the distinguished guests still emerging from the Abbey to the thousands of ordinary citizens pressed against the barriers. Charlotte maintained her composure while clearly enjoying the moment, her waves to the crowd showing perfect timing and natural grace. She had learned to read public occasions instinctively, understanding when formality was required and when warmth was appropriate. Her ability to connect with people while maintaining royal dignity impressed even seasoned royal watchers in the crowd. George stood proudly beside his father, his earlier nervousness replaced by growing confidence in his ability to handle public attention. The young prince waved with increasing enthusiasm as he recognized the genuine love in the crowd's response. His transformation throughout the day from nervous participant to confident young royal marked an important milestone in his development. William's pride in his family was unmistakable as he surveyed the scene before them. His children had exceeded every expectation, conducting themselves with grace and dignity throughout one of the most demanding days in royal protocol. His wife had once again demonstrated why she was so beloved by the British people. Combining natural warmth with perfect royal bearing, the family's progress down the Abbey steps created a cascade of cheers that rolled through the crowd like a wave. Each step brought them closer to their subjects, and the energy between the royal family and their people grew more intense with their approach. This was democracy and monarchy in perfect harmony, showing the unique relationship between the British people and their royal family. Photographers captured the genuine emotions playing across each family member's face as they absorbed the magnitude of the public's response. These images would become iconic representations of a successful royal occasion, showing how the monarchy continued to evolve while maintaining its essential connection with the British people. The pictures told a story of tradition, embracing modernity. The journey back to their waiting vehicles provided additional opportunities for the family to acknowledge their subjects' enthusiasm. Catherine made a point of looking directly at various sections of the crowd, her eye contact creating personal connections across the barriers. Her genuine interest in the people who had come to celebrate with them strengthened the bonds of mutual affection. As they reached their car, the family paused for final waves and acknowledgments before their departure. The crowd's energy remained high, sustained by the successful conclusion of this historic day and their satisfaction with their royal family's performance. The cheers continued unabated, creating a soundtrack of celebration that would echo in memory long after the day ended. The car doors closed on a family transformed by their shared experience. They had successfully navigated one of the most challenging and important days in royal life, emerging with enhanced reputations and strengthened bonds. Their graceful handling of every aspect of the coronation ceremony had reaffirmed their central place in British national life. Began the journey back through London's celebrating streets. The Wales family could reflect on a day that had exceeded all expectations. They had honored ancient traditions while creating new memories, bridged past and future while living fully in the present. Their success at Westminster Abbey would be remembered as one of the finest examples of modern royal ceremony. The crowds, lining their route home, continued celebrating, their enthusiasm undimmed by the day's length or the cooling London air. The royal family's graceful performance had given their subjects something to be proud of, strengthening the bonds between monarchy and people that formed the foundation of British constitutional life. Their return journey became a victory parade. Through a nation united in celebration of its beloved royal family,